This case was a surprise to me from beginning to end. Joleen Cummings, a hard-working 34-year-old hairdresser from a small Florida town, goes missing. But what happens in cases like this, when there are multiple suspects, each with plausible motive? Things are even more complicated when the victim never surfaces. After all, no body, no crime. That's how it works. It will take a breakthrough, just one little detail, to crack this thing wide open. Buckle up. This one's a ride. This is 50 Ways to Catch a Killer.
May 14th, 2018.
Around 8 a.m., our communications dispatch division receives a call from Ann Johnson stating that her 34-year-old daughter, Joleen Cummings, was missing. She hasn't been seen in a couple days. Her mother was very upset, almost frantic. She was sure that something was wrong.
Right now, an urgent search for a missing mother in Nassau County.
She was reported missing by her ex-husband after she never showed up to pick up her kids yesterday on Mother's Day.
As a reporter, I got an alert from the sheriff's office saying that this mother of 3 was missing. So they immediately need to put somebody on it. Detectives were immediately speaking with Joleen's family, trying to gather as much information they could about where she might have last been.
Once we got the word out, we really started digging into the details. We spoke to friends and family.
Joleen loved her kids. Like, it was so hard to get her away from them. I'd be like, hey, can you get a sitter? Let's go see a movie. Because I always felt like she needed a break.
Joleen's kids were the most important thing in her life. Everything that she did was for her kids.
A lot of people loved her. She had a lot of friends and a good family. She had a lot to look forward to, a lot to celebrate with her children, and she would never just disappear.
I found out that Joleen had gone missing. Her mom called me. Joleen's mom was going on and on about, hey, have you heard from Joleen? When's the last time you heard from her? I was like, oh, I just seen her a couple days ago. As the conversation went on and I found out she didn't pick up the kids, I did think, okay, so something is wrong. Because there'd be no rhyme or reason why Joleen wouldn't pick up those boys. Things kind of really got real then.
Being completely out of contact for this long is out of character for Joleen Cummings. Is it a kidnapping? An injury? Something worse? Investigators set out to find answers. First stop, Joleen's home.
Before even going in the house, first thing I wanted to do was see if there were any signs of forced entry, anything outside the home that was unusual. But inside was very concerning to me because the home was in disarray. I mean, it looked almost like a tornado had been through the house, like something bad might have happened in that home.
Tonight, we're learning disturbing new details about why deputies were called to Joleen Cummings' home regarding a domestic violence situation that happened before she disappeared.
When detectives looked into Joleen's past, they did find that she had a pretty rocky relationship with her estranged husband.
Joleen was going through a divorce. Joleen and her estranged husband, Jason Cummings, had a temporary custody agreement where they exchanged the children for 1 week at a time. Like any divorce, it was a little bit tumultuous. In a missing persons case, that estranged spouse is absolutely going to be a person of interest in the case. He voluntarily participated in an interview.
I wouldn't threaten a woman. My dad would kick my ass up all over down this earth. And that's my kid's mom. What I do take seriously is my family.
He did admit Joleen was a great mom, and he really couldn't provide an explanation why she wouldn't show up for the child exchange.
I texted Joleen and said, look, you're late. I said, I'm here in 20 minutes. I went to her mom's house. That's when I found out they've been trying to get a hold of her all day, and nobody's talked to her.
He did bring up one thing that kind of was a concern for me. He stated that Joleen had a current boyfriend, Jason G., that he is not a very good person.
I got text messages from other people saying he's bad news.
Looking into that, I'm trying to locate him for interview. I'm going to bring him in and interview him just like I'm doing to you.
Jason G went to high school with us. He was a little bit older, so I wasn't allowed to hang out with him or anything. I knew that he would get arrested sometimes.
I did start doing research on Jason G. I discovered a police report from just a couple days prior to Joleen being reported missing, where there was domestic incident between Jason and Joleen at Joleen's home.
5 days before Cummings disappeared, her neighbor, who wants to remain anonymous, says she had to call 911 because she heard loud yelling between Cummings and her boyfriend, something she's heard before, but she says this time the altercation was worse.
By the time the police got there, he was gone. He had a warrant. Did he flee simply because of the warrant? Did there happen to be events that happened post that incident that may have contributed to Joleen disappearing?
When all that came out about her current boyfriend, that kind of raised our flags. We were thinking that he did something to her.
Joleen Cummings has not been seen since Saturday. Deputies have named Jason G., her boyfriend, a person of interest in her disappearance.
My primary assignment was find Jason G., speak to him. I had a telephone number for him. I called it, and it rang about 10 times. He finally picked up. I identified myself as Detective Douglas, and he immediately hung up. He knew we were looking for him.
At this point in time in the investigation, things are not looking good for Jason G., and we have every resource looking for him.
Usually the only people that don't want to speak when a loved one goes missing is if they have something to hide. The fact that Jason G. wasn't answering police, he wasn't giving them information, that definitely made him look suspicious.
When we finally found him, he had concealed himself under a pile of cardboard boxes.
Everything he was doing made him look guilty. We had all got pretty excited when they found him, thinking that we would find Joleen.
Jason G. is arrested on an outstanding warrant and is brought into the sheriff's office for an interview.
You pronounce your last name G or G? G. Okay. You're here on a probation violation. Okay, that's what you're arrested for. You are in custody. You're not free to leave. I want to talk to you about something else. Have you heard that Joleen is missing?
Yeah, I wish I could help her in any way. Last time I seen her was in night. We got in an argument. She always accused me of messing around on it.
We were there to see what was in the house. There was some cabinets broken, there was some holes and stuff. And he freely admitted, yes, I was angry.
I had slammed the cabinet shut when we was arguing, and the bullet would come out. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And what about there was some holes in the door?
That was a long time ago. That was a long time ago.
He says, I tore the cabinets up. I was angry, I was mad, I was frustrated. And I left. But I only left because I knew the police were coming and I was going to be arrested.
Detectives pressed Jason G. for his whereabouts on the day Joleen went missing.
We know that she was at work on Saturday. Nobody's heard from her since then. When's the last time you talked to her?
I was texting with her Saturday.
Okay. Was she at work or where was she at?
I'll take it she was at work because it was like 3:50 something, 3:57 I think.
Well, you still have the messages in your phone?
I don't have a phone, but yeah. I'm sure you can get it to the phone company, but yeah.
You don't have it?
No, sir. This is at my cousin's or at my aunt's where I was this morning. I took the battery out of it and I said, I haven't been on it.
You're taking your battery out of your phone? Are you afraid they're pinging your phone trying to find you?
I told you, the reason I was I got a warrant for violation of probation. I didn't want to go to jail. I didn't have nothing to do with Joleen.
I'm not buying what you're telling me.
I know you didn't believe in that. That's what I'm telling you the truth. I had nothing to do with Joleen. This is not what.
During his interview, Jason G. was able to provide an alibi. He stated that he was with his father at some friend's house, and they had spent the whole weekend there. We interviewed the persons that he spent the weekend with, and all of them gave consistent statements. During his interview, Jason Cummings was able to provide an alibi. He stated that he spent the entire weekend with the kids.
We call it an alibi. It's really the defense of impossibility. There's always a window of time when, even though a person has an alibi, they could have done it.
We first get this case. We have two pretty good suspects. We have a strange husband, we have a boyfriend with violence in his past. Where do we go from here?
With Joleen Cummings, it's as if she had dropped off the face of the earth.
With frustration mounting, detectives turned to Joleen's mother, Ann Johnson, who makes an impassioned plea to the public.
I beg you as a mother to please keep coming forward with any information that you have that can help locate my daughter, for my 3 grandchildren who miss her so much.
As a detective, it's a lot of responsibility to investigate this type of case, and it's a lot of pressure. It turned into the most challenging case in my career, and my gut feeling was, this is something more to this.
Joleen Cummings was employed as a hairdresser at a local salon, Tangles, and her last day at work would have been Saturday, May the 12th at approximately 5 p.m. when the salon closed.
We spoke to the owner and manager. Apparently, Joleen was very excited about the upcoming weekend. She was excited about seeing her kids. She was acting normally. But when we went to Tangles Hair Salon, we started finding little things. Tiny red specks on the wall.
And at that point in time, we backed out of the salon, taped it off, and called our crime scene technicians.
The crime scene unit processed the entire salon with a substance called luminol. And what it does is it reacts to the presence of blood, even blood that's been cleaned up. Once the luminol is applied, the entire salon just lit up like a Christmas tree. Whatever happened, a human being would not survive that amount of blood loss. I knew that I was working a homicide investigation.
Detectives now have a crime scene, but no body and no murder weapon. The hair salon where Joleen worked is now the location of the supposed murder and also raises a series of new questions. That's when Detective Harrington gets a phone call.
They had found Joleen's vehicle. I was super excited because I was like, man, maybe this thing's going to contain some evidence to tell me where Joleen is.
Where Joleen's SUV was spotted was not far from the Tangles Hair Salon, so it was definitely surprising that it had been right there the entire time.
Detectives respond to the scene and find Joleen's vehicle unlocked.
There were no keys in it. It was as if someone had parked it and simply walked away from it.
I knew that we had to canvass the area. We found a credit union that actually had some exterior video surveillance. When I saw that surveillance video, that was the aha moment in this case. From the camera angle in the distance in the darkness, I couldn't see who it was, but I could tell by the size that it was not Joleen.
You can see that the individual is wearing dark-colored clothing and that they are moving towards one of only 2 businesses that are open at that hour, which was a convenience store service station.
On the gas station exterior video, we see that same person dressed in all black walk into the parking lot. At that point in time, I'm going, this is who killed her. It's obvious from the evidence at the salon that it was one hell of a fight. There was no doubt in my mind that it was a person who exited Joleen's vehicle.
Once detectives had a look at that surveillance video, they take it to the hair salon where the owners are able to identify Joleen's co-worker, Jennifer Seibert.
From interviewing the employees of Tangles, what we discovered was that not only did Joleen and Jennifer's relationship deteriorate, but Jennifer's behavior was just becoming kind of erratic. At one point in time, just 2 days before the homicide, there was a blow-up between the two where Joleen was trying to talk to a coworker, and Jennifer kept following them around, and she physically told her, "Stop following me."
Jolene's co-worker, Ann Morgan, tells detectives that Joleen did not trust Jennifer and didn't believe a word she said.
Joleen was sitting down, and I'm sitting on the chair, and Joleen looked up to her, say, "Go away, you fake."
Joleen was very good at spotting a fake. That was one thing she was very good at. And if she didn't like you, she'd let you know. She was just a kind of a direct kind of person.
Joleen would just be vocal when she could spot a fake. And then she would start investigating. She would go on Facebook, she would look up phone numbers.
But Jolene's investigative talents might just have ended up putting her in the crosshairs of someone with something to hide.
Taking a closer look at Tangle's salon, we started canvassing the area. We discovered a camera that was mounted to the back of the building.
Surveillance footage shows Jennifer Seibert in the hours after the salon closed, taking large bags of items and tossing them in the dumpster.
I was confident that Joleen was murdered inside the salon and that I was watching Jennifer dispose of Joleen.
Police checked the dumpster, but it's been emptied. Meanwhile, detectives finally have a main suspect, Jennifer Seibert. Now, they just have to find her. They learn that she was living out of her black Kia Soul.
My thought was, we need to check rest areas, truck stops. We started to search all these areas throughout Northeast Florida. There was a detective that was looking in the area and saw a black Kia Soul parked in a way as if the person was trying to conceal it behind two large semi-trucks. When I get to that location, I'm thinking I'm approaching a homicide suspect. So I made a cautious approach. When I looked through the windshield of the vehicle, it looked like somebody was sleeping in the rear hatchback area. I gave verbal commands for the person to exit the vehicle with their hands where I could see them. When the person exited the vehicle, I immediately knew that it was Jennifer Seibert. I said, look, I'm investigating Joleen's disappearance. She said something very important. She said, I only worked at Tangle's for a short period of time. Joleen and I were not close. I have no idea where she's at. And I said, well, you guys aren't close. Have you ever been in her vehicle? You ever driven her vehicle? And she said, no, I told you we weren't friends. That was critical because I have her on camera driving Joleen's vehicle. At that point in time, I had enough probable cause to arrest her for grand theft auto. After she was arrested, I requested that the sheriff's office tow her vehicle to a secured location. During the search of the vehicle, we found a salon kit that hairstylists would use. We found numerous receipts.
Jennifer Seibert had purchased heavy-duty trash bags, disposable gloves, cleaning materials including ammonia, and most damning, in my mind, an electric carving knife. All of these purchases together literally made the hair stand up on the back of my neck.
When we got the surveillance video, you could clearly see Jennifer Seibert purchasing those items.
Breaking news from Nassau County. Investigators released an update on this missing mom, Joleen Cummings. This co-worker, Jennifer Seibert, has been arrested.
It would appear the police have their chief suspect. But a statement by her while being transferred for questioning sends this case in a whole new direction.
This was so strange. I'll never forget when the sheriff announced her arrest.
Tangle's hairstylist.
He goes up there and he says, her name is really Kimberly Kessler, and we're like, who is this woman?
In this case, every lead's a bust. And now we know why. Joleen's co-worker at Tangle's wasn't even on the radar. But good detective work puts an end to her double life. So they have the killer. But without a body or a murder weapon, they still don't have a case. The key to putting her away is still out there somewhere hiding. They just have to find it. And where they look will bring this all full circle.
When we looked into Jennifer Seibert's background, we made a startling discovery, and we knew something was off. We found that there was a Jennifer Seibert that lived in Butler, Pennsylvania, who had died at 12 years old many, many years ago.
Who is this person? We know now that she's not Jennifer Seibert. We haven't a clue who she really is.
When I conducted my interview with Jennifer Seibert, the first things I said to her was, what name would you like me to call you? What she told me was purely shocking.
When you run my fingerprints through, they come up as Kimberly Lee Kessler. I was born in May of 1968, May 9th. I am 50 years old. I've been running from the FBI for over 25 years. I've been living under this particular alias since 1999. I have aliases. I have IDs. I was Christina Brooke. I have driven tractor and trailer, which I did in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Did I mention I'm wanted in Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Arizona? I also have a real estate license in Arizona.
She had actually used about 17 different aliases in about 14 different states, but I knew I had to try to steer her in the way of my investigation. I think Jolene's dead, and I think you know where Joleen is. I'm gonna find out where those little boys' mama is. I promise you I'm gonna do that. You can help me do that, and you're the one that can make it happen right now.
No, I cannot.
I told her about the evidence that I had, the receipts, the blood from the salon. She didn't flinch. She immediately said, "You're not gonna like what I have to say next."
I would like legal counsel.
You not want to talk to me without legal counsel, is that what you're telling me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When she invoked her right, it was disappointed. I'd hoped that maybe we could develop some type of rapport and that I could get some type of confession. We had no murder weapon to make an arrest. Once we started looking into Kimberly Kessler, AKA Jennifer Seibert's background, we started making contact with people from her past who all had basically horror stories to tell about her.
Detectives tracked down the next boyfriend of hers, and what he told them would send chills down anyone's spine.
Was that a normal thing for her, like acting out and being violent?
Yeah, we went to a party one night and she just saw a girl that she didn't like and just started throwing hands.
I saw something about stabbing you in the leg. Can you tell me about that?
No, she stabbed me in the chest.
Stabbed you in the chest?
During this interview, we determined that she had attacked her ex-boyfriend with a pair of hairdresser scissors and stabbed him with it. So this was critical because I know that we had found the salon kit inside the vehicle. When we looked at the contents of the salon kit, there was a pair of hairdresser scissors in there. They looked and appeared to be clean, but if you look very closely, a pair of scissors is two pieces that are normally connected together with a screw. If you looked at in the head of the screw, the Phillips head part of the screw, there appeared to be a dark substance in there that might be blood. It was such a small amount that I was afraid I would destroy what little bit was there. So we sent the entire pair of scissors to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. A few weeks later, I get the DNA results from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. The substance on the scissors was Joleen Cummings' blood. It was a 100% match. I knew that was the murder weapon. And Kimberly Kessler killed her. Kimberly Kessler had been on the run for about 25 years. She was smart enough to live under these aliases, but Joleen was going to expose her and find out who she really was. I believe that there was already a plot that Jennifer was going to kill Joleen. Based on the evidence that we collected, we believe on May 12th, 2018, after closing, when everybody else had left the salon, Kimberly attacked Joleen with the scissors and stabbed her. I don't think that she expected for Joleen to put up as big a fight as she did. But I think Joleen fought like hell. The salon was a bloody mess. She goes to Walmart, she purchases the items she needs to dismember and dispose of Joleen's body. She cleans the scissors, puts them in a vehicle. She takes Joleen's SUV, she parks it in front of the Home Depot. She goes to the gas station and gets her taxi ride back to the salon. She throws her away in the dumpster.
Therefore, versus Kimberly Kessler, aka Jennifer Marie Seibert. Verdict count 1, first-degree murder. We, the jury, found the defendant guilty of first-degree murder as charged in the indictment.
The following month, Kessler was sentenced to life in prison.
Joleen isn't the only victim of this heinous crime. Her children lost their mother, and to this day, her body has never been found.
I remember one of her sons were spending the night at my house, and he asked if there was like a train he could get to heaven because that's where his mom was. I don't know exactly how you explain that to a child. I can't help sometimes but like just wonder like what she was thinking, like at the end, you know? And I know that she had to have been thinking about her kids. There's no way that wasn't one of her last thoughts.
I want Joleen to be remembered as an aspiring hairdresser who was doing everything she could to make her dreams come true for her and her kids. It was never just her, it was her and those babies. Through a bad divorce, through bad relationships, like she's always put those kids first.
Even if I retire, I won't stop looking. Maybe at some point in time, we will find some part of Joleen and bring her home to her family, to her kids. They never had the closure. And I want to give them that.
I told you this was a wild one. Joleen Cummings didn't deserve what happened to her. Kimberly Kessler was used to changing names and moving from state to state, hiding in plain sight. But she didn't count on one thing. A tiny drop of Joleen's blood, hidden in the groove of a scissor screw, would be enough to cause her house of lies to collapse. It never fails, man. These killers overlook one little detail. And that's one more way to catch a killer.